Ahoy there! Welcome back to another One Piece manga chapter review. Today we have chapter 1154, titled I Can't Even Die. So we'll probably be picking up with the Loki backstory, continuing where we left off. Loki had just shortly after having been born, getting thrown off the top of the Sun Realm into the realm of the dead and then crawling back up. So we'll probably get the flash forward a few years and see Loki as a child and his growing up. Okay, so we've got our Yamato cover story here. Only Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 38. At the grave of a hero born in the West Blue, brought up in Ringo. A hero born in the West Blue and brought up in Ringo. Is that... Well, yeah, that's the shrine. Wait. Is that? I believe that it looks like it's a shrine where Benimaru was. So is this... This can't be about Zoro's ancestor, because Zoro's ancestor was born in Wano. He was one of the daimyos, so he was the daimyo of Ringo. Someone brought up in Ringo who was born in the West Blue. The grave of a hero, so they're dead, they're a hero. Born in the West Blue, brought up in Ringo. It's gotta be a character we've already been introduced to, because this is post Wano and it's the pilgrimage, so I'm not entirely sure who this is supposed to be, who this hero is supposed to be, but anyway, we've got one of the Yakuza, we've got Kiku, Yamato, Page One and Ulti all walking towards the shrine. Okay, notes from Oda, no notes from Oda here. Okay, into the chapter. Elbaf's past, 63 years ago. Lord Jarl! Jarl, the oldest man in the present day, lost his partner. Cascade Beard Jarl was struck down dead by the hands of a certain young girl. So this is going back to Big Mom, when Big Mom killed Jarl. Girl. So Cascade Beard Ural was struck down dead by the hands of a certain girl. Her name was Charlotte Linlin, a mere human, yet she left a large part of the giant village in ruins. She would later go on to become an emperor, earning the epithet Big Mom. That same year, Elbaf faced a string of tragedies. It was calamity after calamity, sudden fires, windstorms, bitter cold. Bitter cold waves devastated the crops. The abnormal weather also brought fishing to a halt. This once magnificent land had fallen into famine. We get some nice shots of the famine taking place. We've got bitter cold winds blowing, huts being covered with snow and ice, people, fishermen out on fishing boats, freezing. Now we're going back to the kingdom, or back to the castle. Now do you see, this is all that child's doing. This land was cursed because you failed to kill it immediately. No, surely it's just a coincidence. So this is the queen yelling at one of the guards. Crash. Good, Crash. Yeah, he's staring at me. Yeah, Prince Loki. So we've got Loki breaking into the house, breaking into the castle. Take it away. Don't ever let that monster near me again. Wah! Prince Loki, you have to keep away from your mother's room. We've got the guards trying to drag Loki away. Loki is crying and trying to reach for his mother. Gouge out those monstrous eyes. If left unchecked, his curse will grow till it brings about this nation's collapse. Yeah. Why, I'm hungry. Sorry, sweetie, that was the last bit of bread we had. You're going reaving? We could easily steal what we need from the humans. Ain't that how it's always been in Elbaf's history? Don't be ridiculous. A census raid on them would only bring shame to Elbaf. That's the law of the land now. So we've got people throughout Elbaf dealing with the famine. Those bastards from Hunter's village are attacking. What are they? It seems they've hit other villages too. Quick, arm yourselves. Don't let them loot the village. Internal giant struggles weren't unheard of during desperate times, but these incidents only resulted in making the period more severe and bloody. The country was engulfed in chaos and misery. I heard a rumor that Prince that I heard a rumor about that princeling born in the castle. He's cursed. And the bitterness festered as spirits broke. So we've got some more giants. Are these giant warrior pirates? They seem to be guards. Then we see Harujin. Hey, Harujin, your brothers doomed this country with this curse. Huh? As his elder brother, you'll take responsibility as a sacrifice. So this is just a random giant from the village barging into... Is this Harujin's house? Where Harujin and his mother are? What are you talking about? Don't you know my son's a cutie who's gonna be the world's longest living man? What are you talking about? Don't you know my son's a cutie who's gonna be the world's longest living man? Canada, you're nothing but an outsider who seduced Harold. Go to hell. I love this country. And the giant grabs Ida and swings back his weapon. Don't you lay a finger on my mom. I'm gonna flatten you. King Harold. Harold appears and hits the giant. Daddy, King Harold. You brothers must not fight amongst each other. The king. Word reached me about Loki's birth and the recent famine. I was building a rapport with various nations. When the news came, our allies acted without hesitation. They loaded tons of food and supplies to be shipped here. Humans may be small in stature, but not will. Our allied nations came together to ensure that we got enough to truly fill and satiate our giant bellies. We will graciously accept their aid. Harold, we've got a nice shot of all of these boats from other nations, packed with huge bags of food and supplies. So King Harold's diplomatic efforts have actually saved the nation from the famine. That should be enough to take the heat off of Loki, but it probably won't in the end, considering where things are in the present. If these folks are ever in a pinch, it'll be our job to return the favor with all our might. Remember, this tiny world is ours to share. Okay, next page. Queen Estrid continued to publicly declare that the plagues suffered by Elbaf were brought on by the accursed prince, right up until the eve of Harold's return. She denounced her son with bitter hatred until her final anguished breath. And now we see a funeral procession for Estrid, and Harold is there and he's crying. Naturally, the people believed her passing was part of the curse. Loki, my son! You got Harold raising up Loki in the air. Happy with him? He was born with a condition that affects his eyes. Well, he could see, but I understand. What a pity. Can't even smile for me. I guess it makes sense. He did just lose his mother. Only a few months old, Loki had given up on love. Sure have a lot of scrapes. No, those are... Harold's diplomacy soon started to bear fruit, and Elbaf's winter finally came to a close. Branch Route 1? That's right, it'll help build inter-village trade and communication. Restoring a fractured nation and venturing across the seas continued to be prioritized, while other things became an afterthought. Freak! Estrid's older brother was appointed as Loki's personal steward. Oh boy, so Estrid's older brother is now taking care of Loki. Harold is so busy with diplomacy now, he's not actually raising his son. This is the realm of the dead, isn't it? Dangerous here? The coastline keeps this area separated so the beast won't come near. You're so cute when you're worried. So we've got Ida and Harujan living in the realm of the dead, a small hut near the coastline. Ida's pinching Harujan's cheeks, and he's not looking too pleased, he's just worried. Don't you have training with Eldo from West Village? You should head back. This is Ida's Tavern, you hear? Fishermen, castaways, even pirates. I'm ready for any and all customers. With any luck, I'll be of help to Harold. Now we've moved forward a little bit. 56 years ago, Jarl's house. You were at the scene of the reverie incident, Harold? Yeah. My friend was one of the invited kings. He smuggled me in as one of his guards. I couldn't ask the questions I wanted to without blowing my cover. If that murder hadn't happened, I might have been exposed. If you were caught, all this would be the least of your worries. Have you heard about the Galera Warhammer Company? The Galera Warhammer Company. Translation. Translator's note. Kanji is Great Hammer Battalion. Furigana might be a spin on Galila, the Galera Warhammer Company. So this Warhammer Company is possibly a precursor to Galila, or Galila took their name from this Galera Warhammer Company? They're that gruff troop of giant shipwrights that arm themselves with warhammers, right? I thought they were just a myth. Okay, yeah, so this is definitely the precursor to Galila. No, they existed. They really did travel far and wide, sending letters back to Elbaf. The final letter said they'd all been captured. Can you believe it? Over 100 warriors were taken prisoner, including ancient giants. You think the world government was responsible? There's no doubt that they once faced a great enemy. However, they sink deep into the ocean at a certain point in history. To be blunt, there's probably a deeper reason why your ideals haven't worked out, and it has nothing to do with you. Lingering animosity, huh? These are just rumors, but I also heard a story about a frozen army of giants somewhere. It seems our people are regarded as enemies to the larger worlds. Clearly, but I've already resolved to face any hurdle. So we've got stories about giants that were traveling the world and have all been wiped out at various points. So this Galila precursor troop sank to the bottom of the ocean, it says. Sank deep into the ocean at a certain point in history. the giants? The Galera La giants? If they sank to the bottom of the ocean, would that be a case of the ancient weapons being used and the sea level of the world rising further? That would be a really recent instance, because that's only 56 years ago. Well, 56 years ago, Jarl is recounting this story, but he doesn't give us an indication of how long ago the Galera La Warhammer Company existed. It seems that there must have been some substantial amount of time, because Harold thinks that the company was a myth. Then we have a case of the giants, another army of giants frozen. So would this be a previous owner of the ice fruits? Because 56 years ago, yeah, that would have to be before Aokiji was born, so Aokiji couldn't have had the fruit. It's very interesting to note that they were frozen. Either they were traveling through a frozen territory, a winter island somewhere, which doesn't seem too likely, or they were attacked by someone. And that's the point that Jarl was trying to make the Herald, is that there is a long-standing animosity between giants and humans, and that's why his diplomatic efforts are not working as well as he hoped. Which indicates that it was some kind of attack on those giants that caused them to be frozen, so it would have to be a previous hold of the ice fruit. But who would be the previous hold of the ice fruit, and why would they freeze those giants? That is the question. These are just rumors. A sort of story about a frozen army of giants somewhere. Seems like people are regarded as enemies in the larger world. Now we're going back to Oust Castle. Prince Loki! I know you cursed and killed my little sister. Prince Loki! Now let's see what kind of garbage we'll be serving up today. Wow, the horse of fortune died. Stuart's body was in the realm of the dead. "48 years before the present day." The villages drew closer in terms of trade and identity, and the nation stood together. My dream is to join hands with many other countries around the planet. The giant race to be welcome all over this world. Got Harold proclaiming his dream to a crowd of people, and they're cheering. King Harold's so cool. He's changed so much. He's going to be a king who will go down in history. Well, well, you look thrilled, Tarbujan. Is it because you're a legitimate Prince Loki? Is it because you're illegitimate Prince? Is it because you're illegitimate? Prince Loki is the true heir, right? You're just an illegitimate throwaway. This is a disaster. King Harold's already left on his voyage. They're coming. Close the doors and get the children inside. Eat them all up, guys. So we've got young Loki going on a rampage with animals. And I think these are the same animals that we saw in the Realm of the Dead when we first met Loki, so he's been with them for a long time. You know what, I'll beat them all up, guys. Oh, this is Eldath, the world's strongest country. We don't need weaklings here. Loki, driven by scorn, unleashed chaos onto Eldath. He laughed at the feeble as they ran. Hey, Loki, Dad went through hell to rebuild this village. Huh? You think you get to call my father Dad? I don't get why everyone respects him. He's dumb for trying to play nice with those human insects. That's crap. We should all try to see from each other's perspectives. Don't get cocky just 'cause you're big. Being cocky is my right. I'm the prince. Don't you dare talk back to me, runt. So Harujan first draws his blade against Loki. As they're talking, then Loki swings his club, smashes Harujan. Harujan! Stay back, Gerd. He'll think you're his friend. Loki will hate you next. We are his friends, you dummy. We got Goldberg and Gerd, so they were with Loki, or with Harujan when they were kids. Harujan, are you okay? He needs first aid. Ha 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 ha. You're so pathetic I could puke, Harujan. You're just a group of weaklings huddling together. It's 'cause of your mom's filthy blood. Young master, that's going too far. He's still the son of the king. He's also a Don't call him a prince. Loki swings his club and hits those guards that were trying to calm him down. Loki spread pain and destruction, but nothing he did filled the hole in his own heart. And we see Loki watching mothers holding their children and noticing how Harujan has these friends that care about him and look out for him. So Loki finishes his rampage and returns to the realm of the dead. Smash. I can't even die. Loki's crying. His bandages are off. We see his eyes are the same as when he was a baby. So what he did was he jumped. I guess he leapt, or maybe was thrown. It looks like he leapt from the sun realm and fell all the way back into the realm of the dead. Just like when he was a baby and he was thrown. So he's trying to die similar to Kaido. Interesting. Suddenly a mountain near him gets cut in half. Huh? What's the deal with this island? Where's the welcome committee? Rawr, rawr. Oh, how... Oh ho, we found one. Look, it's a giant whelp. This is definitely Elbaf. Gee ha 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 ha, this brat's got one hell of a devil face. I know he's a giant, but isn't he a bit too big? Hey kid, why are you crying? So we've got Shiki, got Edward Newgate, young Shiki, young Edward Newgate. Alright kid, so Shiki, Edward Newgate, and Stussy. Or is that the pirate? Yeah, I think that's Stussy. Alright kid, you better say yes to both these questions. I ain't the type that takes no for an answer. First off, this is Elbaf, land of giants, yeah? Second, we'll find Harold here, yeah? Harold spotted this particular man 8 years ago during a revelry. He single-handedly killed a Navy HQ admiral and vanished without a trace. His feat earned him a massive bounty and the government's ire. Rox D. Xebec, future captain of the Rox Pirates, father of the Emperor Blackbeard. And we finally see Rox. Rox's face looks exactly like Blackbeard's face. He has a scar over his right eye. A lightning bolt, looks like a lightning bolt shaped scar. His hair is black and white and spiky. It's spiky black and white hair. A lightning bolt shaped scar over his eye. Rox D. Xebec, future captain of the Rox Pirates, father of Emperor Blackbeard. So a whole lot is here. Huge reveal. Xebec. People speculated that Xebec was Blackbeard's father, and here it's confirmed. He looks exactly like Blackbeard, at least in the face. Which means that Whitebeard knew when he saw Blackbeard. When he first saw Blackbeard, he knew that Blackbeard was Rox's son, which makes sense for Whitebeard's character because Whitebeard doesn't care about the lineage of people. He believes that people shouldn't bear responsibility of what their ancestors did because they're separate people. They didn't do the things that their ancestor did. He didn't care that Ace was Roger's son, so naturally he wouldn't care that Blackbeard is Xebec's son. But this is interesting because Harold saw Xebec at Reverie and Xebec saw Harold. Xebec killed the Navy Admiral at the Reverie. So we've already got a power feat there. He killed an admiral single-handedly. Vanished without a trace. That's interesting. He's already traveling with Newgate, Shiki, and Stussy. So why are they already traveling together? This is before the Rox Pirates were formed. So they're traveling together. They haven't formed a pirate crew yet. Future captain of the Rox Pirates. So we have Xebec here. And the question is, where is this strength coming from? Because he apparently wasn't a pirate. So how did he acquire so much power if he wasn't a pirate? And it seems like they were strong enough to get into the Reverie, kill someone, kill an admiral no less. How? So first off is, shouldn't get ahead of myself, but the first thought I have is Xebec's design. Seems to indicate to me that he might have lightning power. He has this spiky hair. He has a scar shaped like a lightning bolt. His hair is black and white, striped hair. That imagery seems to invoke electricity. So would he have Enel's fruit, the Rumble Rumble fruit? Because, well, let's see. Yeah, I would say that Annel's fruit is a admiral level Logia fruit. We have the lightning fruit. It could just be that that's just his design. It could just be like Roger, but I have a feeling he's not like Roger, no devil fruit. Because looking at its design, we see he doesn't have a sword. At least not that we see. We see one of his hands, we don't see his other hand. It's wearing a black feather coat. So one of his arms is covered. But we kind of see his waist, and there's no swords at his waist. So no swords. Because, for instance, we see Shiki has swords, two swords at his waist. We see Stussie's holding something in her hand, looks like a blade of some kind. We got Whitebeard's not carrying any blades. Or Whitebeard, he does have his blade, but it's strapped to his back. So no swords on Xebec. Which indicates devil fruit power. Would I say it's the darkness fruit? That he had the darkness fruit before Blackbeard? Because there has to be a reason that Blackbeard went after the darkness fruit specifically. Now, it could just be that it's power. That he was interested in the power because he knew what it was capable of. Then that brings back the question of how he knew, but if Xebec had the darkness fruit first, A, it would explain how Blackbeard knew about the fruit because his father had it. B, it would explain a lot of the power he has. Power to kill an admiral single-handedly. The darkness fruit could do that, especially if the admiral had a devil fruit power. If Xebec had the darkness fruit, he might have done something similar to what Blackbeard did, and he might have multiple devil fruit abilities. So he could have the darkness fruit and the lightning fruit right now. And that could actually work. Darkness fruit and the lightning fruit. His hair is striped black and white. So black, the darkness fruit, white, the lightning fruit. So I think that's valid. That's a valid theory at the very least, that he has Enos fruit and he has the darkness fruit. Blackbeard knew about the darkness fruit because his dad had it. Blackbeard considered it his legacy, his destiny to have that fruit. That's why he killed that stick. That's why he got on Whitebeard's ship, because he knew that would be the best way to eventually come across that fruit. And he got that fruit. He killed Thatch and took the fruit. He already knew about the properties of the fruit. He knew about its ability to nullify devil fruit powers. More importantly, he knew about the ability to gain the power of multiple devil fruits. But there is one thing about that. There's that comment from Marco about Blackbeard's body not being normal, and that being why he's able to have two devil fruits. Which would mean Xebec would have to have the same abnormality to have multiple devil fruits. And it would mean the source of the multiple devil fruits is the abnormality of the bodies of Blackbeard and Xebec, rather than due to the darkness fruit's power. So the theory of Xebec having the darkness fruit and having multiple devil fruit powers only works if either A, the ability to have multiple devil fruit powers comes directly from the darkness fruit, so no matter who has it, they'll have that power, or B, the ability to have multiple devil fruits comes from the strange makeup of Blackbeard's body, 100% confirmed. Well, not 100% confirmed, but mentioned. There's some mystery regarding Blackbeard's body. With Xebec, there's no question there so far. He could just be a regular person. Okay. So there's a lot of room to speculate about Xebec. But he's after Harold. That's why he's here. Why is he after Harold? Is it because Harold witnessed Xebec? I don't know if that really matters, because he already was seen. He already got the world government's ire. So Harold being a witness doesn't really matter that much. So if he's not there for that, then he's there for something else. Is it to recruit Harold? Is he there to extend an offer to Harold to join him in what would eventually become the Rocks Pirates? I don't know if that's the case, because why would he? Then the other question is, there's a treasure in Elbaf. There's a devil fruit, a treasure in Elbaf. The other option is that Xebec has come to Elbaf for that treasure, for that devil fruit. He heard about it in the world, and he's here to take it. And no indication of a break, so we'll go right into it next week. This is a massive chapter. We get the reveal of Xebec, confirmation that Xebec is Blackbeard's father. We get a lot more history here. Some history we didn't know, like the Galila Company. And it would have to make sense that where the Galera Warhammer Company fell, would be at or around where Witcher 7 is, where current Witcher 7 is, because the Galila Company inherited a lot of the ideas and technique from the Warhammer Company. And that brings up the question, did they really fall there? Or were they somehow existing with the humans and were teaching the humans about stuff before they were wiped out? Which might make a little bit more sense. Xebec's goal is to take over the world. If he were to take over Elbaf, he would have all that power on his side, and it will put him a big step closer to his goal of taking over the world. Or it's just the devil fruit there. Or it's just to recruit Harold. Maybe Xebec heard tales of Harold back when he was in his younger days rampaging. It was real terror on the sea. And that's the Harold he's expecting to see and recruit. That's a possibility. But there's so much room for speculation. And we'll probably get a little bit more since we're not at the end of the flashback yet. We might get a lot more answers here as we reveal Xebec and get a little bit into Xebec and a little bit of the origin of Blackbeard. In a sense, we know who Blackbeard's father is. So with that, I'm going to leave things off here. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. I will catch you in the next video. Till then, stay cool.